Holy, 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 Alleluia. Holy Jesus, praise Jesus, Alleluia. All right, these are two old ones, but I think they tie in, and I did some baptisms, but I'm going to wait to talk about those if we have time. But here's the big one that happened. As I'm drifting off, I just saw a huge butcher knife being used to scrape the hair off the chest and abdomen of a man. He wasn't cut, they just cut the hair off. Like a super sharp knife, they show you, you use it to, you can test its sharpness by uh, rubbing it along, and if it cuts your hair off, the knife is sharp. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Oh.
just thinking, it sounds like intimidation, and there we are. Look
Yeah,
at
it
that.
was intimidation. His arms were tied above his head. It was also to demonstrate how sharp the blade was. The man was already dead. My part starts talking. He was in one of those butcher freezer storage rooms. After they showed me how sharp the blade was, then they dove the knife into his chest at the neck, cut through the breastbone down to the groin. Lots of blood drain. I think I said let the blood drain, but lots makes more sense. I instantly got an upset stomach, shuddered, and had moderate adrenaline. This was at School Sisters of Notre Dame. I believe it was my first courier pickup. The man said to me, "Do you want to see how we do it?" I didn't answer. That's when he shaved the hair off the center of the body. He turned and looked at me. I was just frozen. And he used two hands and broke through the breastbone. Pushed down. He was licking his lips as he was cutting. He was looking at the side of his eyes to make sure I was watching. He got it perfectly, not even looking, because he's kind of looking at me while he's doing this. That tripped me out. He said, "You understand what can happen to you?" I shook my head. As the blood was draining, he said, "Good, let's go get your package." This is anyway. This might be in the Chicago cooler and the butcher shop as well. I wasn't sure what location, but this popped in my head. He washed his hands off and wiped them on a towel very slowly, like deliberately. Then he picked up the backpack and gave it to me. And I have a tight stomach this whole time we've been talking because and then in real time, I reached down and itched my pubic hair. So when I did that, I remembered he grabbed my crotch while I was putting the backpack on and my arms were busy. I froze. And he smacked my ass and told me to get out of there. But before I walked out the door, he hollered at me and I looked back. He said, "Mum's the word, yes?" I said, "Yes." When I walked out the door, I smelled the lake and saw the water. This is when I knew it was School Sisters. Smelled the lake and saw the water, although Chicago's got the same lake. This must have been at School Sisters. And they said, "Yes." Then John walked me to the boat because I remember this boat incident. It's already recorded. This part is called The Butcher, and I've come to realize it's just Butch. After he shaved the hair off the man's body, he brought the butcher knife over to me and wiped the hair that was stuck on the blade on my right cheek. He went like this. He smiled and turned back around to dive the knife into the man's breastbone. He wasn't looking. Oh, wait. When he wasn't looking, I wiped the hair off my face. I wiped it like it was the most disgusting. I was like this. I mean, it wasn't just I mean, it was nasty. He walked around me and put one hand, his left hand, at the base of my skull and used the right hand to wipe the blade on my face. There was some kind of oil on it. Then I wiped it off and see the hair in the oil on my hand, and I had nowhere to wipe it except on my pants. After I left that room, I was wiping it off my face and brushing it off my pants. When I was on the boat, I remember I was hunched over with my elbows on my knees, and my hands are covering my eyes, backpack on. I was not allowed to take it off. And looking at the so I'm like this on the boat because I was literally on the toilet doing that, and I realized, oh, that's where that comes from. Okay, I could see the stain on my pants, and I wiped my face again. I was mad at that nasty shit was on my pants and stained them. I was thinking about wiping it on the wall or the floor, but I didn't want to turn my back on them. Now, I remember dictating him, but when I went back to edit this, they said no, there was many. So I used my pants, but that entire day I would see that stain on my pants. It would give me an upset stomach, the wall or the floor in that room. Later in the day, I noticed some of that hair stuck to the bottom cuff of my pants. I quickly brushed it off, like it was a deadly insect or something. I wiped off my cheek again, slowly and roughly, because I couldn't get it off to make sure all of it had gotten off of me. There was no more, there was nowhere for me to wash my hands all day. I rubbed my hands on the bottom of the boat. I'd rather have them dirty than sticky and oily, but still there was a residue all day. When he grabbed the back of my neck, he shoved his thumb and forefinger into the soft space under my skull and pinched. It's very tight and sore there right now. Now, for about a week, I've been having shooting pains go through that area, like 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 little electrical currents. So I don't know if there's more to this or not. Just had high level of adrenaline. After he wiped that stuff on my face, he put the knife to my throat. He just looked me in the eyes, did not say anything. And how my right butt cheek, and now my right butt cheek is contracting. I've also had to go to the bathroom about every 30 minutes for about 3 hours now. It's 2:45 in the morning. I lay down at 10:30. He poked the corner of the butcher knife in my right butt cheek as well. He said, "Do you want to keep this?" I shook my head. Yes. He had his hands on my throat and the point of the blade in my butt. When I shook my head yes, he quickly moved his hand to the back of my neck and wiped the hairy oil onto my face. This refrigerated room had bodies on hooks that moved a body over a trough that collected the blood. Then he would push a button and the body would move like clothing in a dry cleaner's. He walked me through about 100 feet of that place to get the backpack, then showed me the door out. He said, "Your bodyguard is waiting. Don't lose one drop." I nodded my head. As I was walking through that place, I saw so many bodies in different stages of butchery. After a while, I tried to just focus on the floor. I could see the feet of dozens of bodies as I stared at the floor and walked by. I was also trying not to step in blood. There were small spots every once in a while. There were big troughs. I think it would splash. Um, Big troughs, splashes. But I could still see the bodies in the periphery of my vision. I just did not want to look at the faces or the torsos. I could handle looking at the feet and seeing the shapes move by me. Shapes as I moved by them. I was relieved when the door was open and sunlight came through. It was dimly lit in that place and cold. There was an evil presence all over. I didn't realize how shallow I was breathing until I got outside and took a deep breath. This was my first time picking up. They took me inside and had that butcher guy scare the crap out of me. Every time after that, I just went to the office and the lady in there would bring the backpack out to me. But I always knew what was behind that door, and I suppose that was the whole point of it. John was waiting right outside the door for me. Every time after that, John was waiting in the office for me. There was one of those small ceramic sinks that had a pedestal but also had brackets holding it to the wall. That's where the man washed his hands. There was bloody water stains all over the wall and the floor in that area. There was also a very large trash can where they threw dirty paper towels. One time, instead of going to the office, I was sent to a different door, and it was like a pony door, and the top was open. That's when that boy from the pit handed me the backpack. I could see into that room, and when I recognized it, I looked away and focused on the top of the pony door. You know what those are? Those the doors that have a top and a bottom with like a little shelf. I got my backpack and left. And the parts started to tear up. It was pretty non-emotional until then. Started to tear up, and it wasn't even great amount of tears. He said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I didn't ask to do this. And I said, I know, but you're going to live with me here and now. Tomorrow we will put you through the questionnaire and you will live here with me forever. And he nodded. Part name is Wipe. And I'm not sure about this. I believe it's sticky hair. And then he started answering the questionnaire. So I'm in fear and despair at 10. He knows what's
Oh,
on the questionnaire.
he's been
And then he
watching.
said, and then he said, can we destroy the prison now? I said, of course. Part of the questionnaire. So we dropped a jet bomb on that building and he started to relax. Then it was quite a while later I realized this is two parts. The one that was seeing the butchery, and then after the fact, oh, that's right. It's Avery's. Um, then that part said, I want you to blow up the boat with C4. How do you know what C4 is? I've been watching you blow up prisons. It's okay. When I walked out the door, my eyes needed to adjust. John said, um, to me, this was after I edited, and I could not remember how to spell this part's name last night. Avery's, it's time to go. Because my last name's Avers, and he knows that. Then again on the boat when we arrived, he said, Avery's, it's time to go. The door that I walked out of was the pony door, except it was all in one piece. It was the pony door where boats would come in and pick up and drop off. Every time I went
You
to the
think that,
office, huh?
Diana, do you think that phrase is one of the trigger
The
phrases
Avery's,
for
it's time to go. I know Avery's is a trigger. It was for my first sergeant. He called me Avery's in the military. And I did courier work there as well. Yeah,
that phrase, time to go?
Avery's is
Because what
definitely,
a
but I think for
powerful,
John, because he was at first I wrote my escort, and the part said he wasn't your escort, he was your bodyguard, because I was only 9. Yeah, I believe this is his trigger to activate me.
it was just as you were talking about it, it was, a good reminder and eye-opening, how these perps and how powerful about the Epstein stuff coming out now. People are getting more educated. But as you said, howdy. So they get in a taxi, and that's how they communicate with each other. Things that nobody's going to suspect, but a lot has been
I
communicated
didn't
between the
either.
perps, of course.
Yeah,
So I could see you could say that phrase in public.
and no
Now
one
you're
would
being
suspect.
triggered.
Yeah.
So because it seems like he repeated it.
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time. The part saying. Every job that this is what he would say.
So,
Session.
so I could imagine, meaning how do they re-access you? Well, before you know it, right? You're standing there with somebody. Nobody else in the crowd is going to know what he just said, other than, well, it's time to go. Looks like a friend of yours, even when you were taken to that Dallas, um, group.
Hmm.
You're right. What a common phrase. Nobody would suspect that that is one of those trigger phrases.
Yeah,
It's time to go. Well, then now switches just happened.
yeah. I just realized as you were talking that my maiden name is Avers, Avers, but they called me Averies. And I never thought about the S before, but the part said that, well, yeah, because we did courier jobs a lot. So I think that this S was, I think that the couriers had an S at the end of whatever their courier name was to let that part know they would have multiple jobs. And it would be the same part to perform whatever job it was, so that you wouldn't be splitting all the time or dissociating. Even though I do have some splits and dissociations, but not a lot of them. I did a lot of couriering. Um, the door I walked out of was the pony door, except all in one piece. It was the pony door where the boats. Okay. Every time I went to the pony office, or every time I went to the office of the pony door, I was always frozen. And there was a pony door here too. Office pony door or the outside pony door. I was always frozen and quiet and waiting for my backpack. I was butch. I was like, really? Okay, what's that about? And so now the other part said, well, this is my emotion level. Because up here, we blew up both prisons, but I was like, well, are you both fear and despair? And this part said, no, I'm just fear. The one that was watching the butchery. Every once in a while, you could hear one of the butchers saying to another, hey, Butch. The other one would reply back the exact same thing. Hey, Butch.
Was this during the time when you're um,
I'm in that room. Yeah.
and had your hair cut short
Mm, oh, geez. I don't know.
for a
When we get
sailor?
to the PowerPoint, we'll look at it. Maybe. I'll just look right now. Okay, we saw
Because you
40.
talked about there was that period of time where they cut your hair short.
Yeah, that was with Brezhnev in Europe.
Well,
That's
wasn't it younger, like age 5, or was that the same age time frame?
I think, let me look, pics.
Because you talked about that's where sailor came from.
Here, I was 6, where they chopped that hair. I was just showing Kelly this the other day. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, they chopped my hair intentionally like that. Um, so I'm 6. Let me find out how old Avery's is. She's 7. And this is not me, obviously. Huh. Maybe they were talking to me. I don't know. It was like a little echo going through the place. Hey, Butch. Hey, Butch. Hey, Butch. Maybe they were talking to me. I don't know. I thought they were talking to each other to reinforce their own programming. I came, it came from about, and that's regarding this, it came from about 10 or 12 different directions. That's what they said when oh, yes, that's what they said when they drove the knife into the breastbone. Except when the man did in front of me, he said, I am the butcher. So maybe he was in charge. Has big rubber boots, except I think they were barefoot in there. They also had on a thick apron made of some sort of plastic or rubber. They were all very beefy men. On the boat, I wanted to dip my hands in the water to wash them off, but we were going too fast. That's why I used the bottom of the boat. It was a fishing boat about 20 feet long. It was gray carpet. I don't know if you're familiar with boats, but we had the same type of carpet on Chris's fishing boat. Obviously, this is 30 years later. Wasn't as nice as Chris's anyway. So by this time, I'm like, okay, is that it? Or can we fall asleep? Chris is going to be up in 15 minutes.
Oh gosh.
And so we were just my brain was still going, not with any memories, just this energy. And I thought, well, okay, well, at least the memory's complete. I heard Chris's alarm go off and he snoozed for 15 more minutes. And then when he got up, I thought, I'm just gonna get up with him. It was 4 a.m. So we sat and he had his coffee, I had my hot chocolate, and we talked for like an hour. He left at about 5:15. So I thought, okay, let me see if I can take a nap. I thought, am I just going to stay up for 2 days? No. So I'm taking a nap at 5:30, and that was pretty much that. It's like, now, there was something in the presentation I did regarding Alan Watt and Melissa, where Alan happened to mention once that the elite want to take you to the abattoir. And I looked up what abattoir means, and it literally means a butcher, a butcher shop, butchery for animals. But in this presentation, I said, and Alan was kind of joking about it. And I said, I have seen these abattoirs, and they are real, and they are not for animals, they are for human beings. And when I said it on that presentation, I knew it with absolute certainty. And I only had tiny, tiny, tiny little glimpses of it because I remembered the Chicago one. But I realized that part was speaking then when I did that presentation. This part right here, Avery's, or Butch, I should say. So it was presenting a long, long, long time ago, but just now is surfacing. Um, I just lost my train of thought.
And you were Alan.
Here. This morning, oh, you can't see this, dang it. Share. This morning, I was thinking, okay, well, where does this part go? Here's Avery's. And I remembered what you said to me about Marge, that I had all this communication from Marge, but never knew how she was created. It's the same thing with Avery's. She has given me two different courier incidences that had parts created. This incident and this incident. Or no, excuse me, this is all one incident. Here's another incident right here. And yeah, these are the two, the orange and the blue, different courier jobs. And it hit me this morning. That's how you were created, by the butcher. And she says, yeah, that was me. And I said, so I need to add in here the part about the nasty hair on my face, because that's a part as well. And Jon calling me, well, that is Avery's. That's the hair part. I need to put in here.
Hey, you want to do it now?
Yeah, this is how Avery's was created, was by was Butch, which I should probably figure out when I did that presentation first and when these guys presented, because this might be a guardian or not. So I got to figure out the name and all that. Let me save that. But that hit me this morning when I thought, well, I want to process the part. Maybe that I should start doing that while I'm waiting for Jon. And they said, no, no. You remember you said you were going to videotape when you process the part. And I went, oh yeah, okay. So when you and I get off, I'm gonna record myself processing this part to include this realization. This is how Avery's was created. Um, so I guess that's it for that. Hello, everybody. It's February 6th. It's about 12:30. Forgive me. I only got 4 hours of sleep this morning. I didn't fall asleep until 5 a.m. and got up at 9. So, but I wanted to record the processing of this part, and I don't want to put off processing this part. So, John and I just had our session and we talked about this part. So the first thing I do is I get my worksheet out, and I've already used a couple of lines up here. So Butch is right here. It's another part I need to do, but I'm just going to do Butch. So it's the first thing I do, get my worksheet out, write that down, and on here it says I need to get their old picture. So I need to go on Google Images and so I started to do this and had to stop myself to realize that no, I want to record this. So that's why you're seeing these pages already here. So I typed in first butcher shop with hanging bodies and troughs of blood. And this one I kind of resonated with because of the lighting and because this person had this thing behind their head and they just look creepy. But my part said no, and none of this kind of lined up. So then I typed in butcher with huge butcher knife. And this picture caught my eye and I clicked it. And it's not so much the cut of meat or even the building because it wasn't that white or clean. It was these guys and their faces. And I realized these are fake beards. Why they would have that on, I don't know, just to look more butch, I guess. But it's just the craziness in this guy's eyes that got me. So I'm going to select this image and save it. So save, get to my file, SRA, parts images, and save that as Butch. That's the part's name. Now, I also wanted to capture the image of the knife. So I put in, oh, that's right. I already looked for it and found it. After looking through a bunch of different knife images, this one makes me want to look away. It makes me shudder. There's something about this blade that the part says, yeah, was very close to that. If not that, I think it's the wooden handle, the square shape of it. So I'm going to select this as well. So I want to get just the knife. I try to find images where the picture is diagonal so I can make it smaller, but I couldn't. So I'm just going to use this and I'm going to name it Butch as well, but I'm going to put Butch 2. For me, that means that I have two images for this part. Now, the next thing I do, I'm going to check off that I've got the old picture. I need to get a new picture. But in order to label that file, I need their new name. So I'm going to go onto this website here called The Bump. Baby names. I'm going to go to boy names because this part identifies as a boy. And I'm going to ask you what letter. He went to a U. Okay, because U is in the name Butcher. My parts like to maintain their old name and just kind of scramble the letters. Sometimes some don't. Some want something completely different. He wants to see if there's a name with a U and a B, as in B, something like Butcher scrambled. So, um, urban, but he doesn't really care for that. we could do ube. He's kind of digging that, but let's see what else there is. Umberto has a Buter. Yeah, he likes Umberto. Okay. Umberto is his name. Now, like I said, not all my parts do it like that, but he wants to retain his identity except with a new name. And so Umberto contains most of those letters except the CH. So he likes that. We'll look and see if there's anything else that might pop out at him. No, he's happy with that. Okay. So now we're going to go back and find a new image for him. So I'm going to put young man, even though this part was 9 years old, my parts like to pick something older than themselves, 5, 10, sometimes even 20 years older than they were. So it's something that they want to aspire to. And because my parts develop and grow very quickly, it doesn't take long for them to aspire to that. So young man, he's saying to type in creative, young man, creative. And does not like that. He says, try bold, because this part was very scared. It's showing me bald men. I'm bold men. Um, how about we put in courageous? Oh, there's Charlie Kirk. He kind of likes this picture. Oops. Sorry about that. I need to save my session with Jon real quick. Sessions, I break it up by year, and then I already have the file made. These are empty, and I just put the label on this here. So save that file. Oh, I guess I should click OK. Okay, so he likes this picture. It's a guy that's not going to take any crap. He's got a strong body build, looks you right in the eye. Yeah, Umberto. Yeah, he doesn't need to look any further. He likes this guy a lot. So let me put that up there. And I'm going to snip this. New. Hello, Umberto, my new part. Save. We're already in parts images, so Umberto. Umberto. Save. Excellent. Okay, so we got new picture, new name. So the next thing I need to do on the checklist says the cover page. Now, my PowerPoint got to be 6,000 pages and growing, and it started giving me hiccups. So I had to take the PowerPoint and split it into 3 pieces. And the 3 pieces are just what I call the cover page. I guess I'll just do this. Oops. And this is Lake City. So it's all the parts, all the buildings where they live, all the different things I want my parts to know. I've shown you all that. So here's the a whole that I have. Already 199 slides times 6. So I've got over 1,200 parts. So we're going to insert the picture, this device, SRA, parts, images, And I sort it by date modified, so the latest images I put are up here. So here is Umberto, and I'm going to size him. Hello, Umberto. Welcome to the family. Copy, oops, copy, paste. Oops, darn it. Like I said, if I'm a little scatterbrained, forgive me. So, Umberto. Delete that. Size you up. There we go. Save. He is now on the cover page. He's in the family, living in Lake City. And like I said, here's Lake City. We live in the mountains by a lake. Here's our accommodations. Huge houses, medium houses, small houses. Oops, those are mediums. Here's the smaller ones. And then I also have tree houses for some people and outdoor living tents. And y'all have seen this before, the kitchens, living rooms, bedrooms, etc. So I'm gonna close that out. So the next thing I need to do is put him on here. So I know I had to look on here and go, okay, based on the story, I know it's Avery's, and y'all saw me do this with Jon. So I need to find Avery's and make a slide before Avery's. So here is, I don't need that open anymore, and I don't need that open. All right, so Avery's. So yeah, my PowerPoints are now split in two, up to the age 11 when my mom divorced my dad, and then everything after the age 11 after my mom left him. I found it fascinating that the bulk of my parts are before I'm 11 years old. So here is Avery's. Her new name is Veronica. She was a courier for the cult. And I put on here 7 to 35 years old. Now, I had to re-go through these journal entries to realize that Avery is telling me different career jobs that she did, but she never revealed to me how she was created when she split. What trauma happened when she split for me to discover it was this butcher shop experience that y'all just heard me and Jon talk about. So her Avery's is Butch. Well, no, wait a minute. I gotta figure this out. Yeah, Butch came before Avery's because after I left that place and he's saying, Avery's, it's time to go. Avery's, it's time to go. So that's when the courier stuff happened, but there was a trauma, the butcher shop. So here's the blank. So I'm going to insert the pictures from this device, and I have three images, the two Butch and the Umberto. So let me just tap the off of that. I'm going to take her picture, copy it, paste it up here just for sizing purposes, send to the back. I'm going to put Umberto over it, size it, send him to the back, and delete that image. And I've been making my parts have smaller margins. Now, this one I've got to spin to size it. Because the guy looked very similar to these. He was a beefy guy. I think he was maybe 5'10", and the knife was like this in his hand. Oops, I need to bring this to the front. Oh, yeah, that's creeping me out. I wonder if I should cut this image because the guy had his awful face and the knife was in. Okay, I'm gonna edit this picture real quick. SRA. I try to get the image as close to what the part saw as possible. So I need to open up Butch. We're gonna edit this. And I don't need him. Yeah, okay. Save the copy. Oh, come on. Parts, images. I'll just say it's Butch 3. Save. So get rid of that. Insert picture here. Butch 3. And I can size him like this. Yeah, the part likes that more, except that he was facing in this direction from my point of view, the part's point of view. And you see the red lines going on this PowerPoint? That's so that the margins line up. Bring to the front. And he had this butcher knife in his hand, and this would represent the man that was hanging there. Okay. So I'm gonna come down here and copy, paste. And I'm gonna copy this, copy, paste, just so I have, the name, impact, all that. And PowerPoint always resizes the letters. Except I wasn't 7 to 35. This is when I was 7. And Butch. So this is 1972. School Sisters of Notre Dame. Butcher shop. So how would I describe this? Be intimidated into silence by the butcher. All right. Okay, so got a little anxiety doing this. Now I'm gonna come down here and copy this page and put it under Butch. I'm just setting things up for later. 6, oops, no. He's presenting 2/6/26. And I'm going to remove this information. Okay, so his page is ready to go. I got the bio page. It's not complete yet. The journal entries. New slide, new slide, new slide. So I'm going to come back over to the journal here. I need to close out, save. Okay, here's the journal. I'm going to put the part's name here, the dash. And this squiggle mark is an indication to me that I have recorded it in my PowerPoint. So copy and paste. And I size it. Oops, wrong. And I can still fit a line over here. All right, and I hope this isn't tedious watching me do this. Well, I just want you to see how you can use these computer documents to help yourself find things. By it all being on one PowerPoint, all I have to do now when I'm thinking about this part and I can't remember the names or the time periods, all I have to do is type in Butch or a trough of blood or any of these key words in this journal that I might recall, and it'll take me to it and I can refresh my memory. So technically, some of this dialogue in here is Avery's talking. And I'm not going to split it up because I like the story to be whole and complete in one place on the PowerPoint. Obviously, it is in my journals. But when I'm searching for things in the PowerPoint, I like to have the whole story. And what I'll do is go through this entry and figure out where Avery's is talking and Butch is talking. But again, I'm half asleep, so I'm kind of missing a couple steps, but I'm gonna just push through this and I will correct things as I go. So, hey. And now the problem I'm going to have is when I edit the document, I'm going to have to copy it onto the PowerPoint. So that's going to be a little tedious. Um, okay, I need this again. And you'll see I put my session notes in here, the couple of things that I remembered. I think I'm just going to grab all of this, put it on here. Avery's is the one that was on the boat and wiping her hands. She was the courier, but she was created. Butch was created to silence Avery's because we're transporting adrenochrome and she needs to be properly intimidated, right? Into silence to protect myself as well as, whatever person is my bodyguard or my escort, which was mainly just one person, John Emanuele. Now I'm going to do something else real quick before I forget. I don't want these pages to get lost or screwed up. So I'm again, Umberto. So copy, paste, paste, form, paste. Oops. Okay, 11 gig as well. All right. Now you can see how I can have 6,000 slides. Anyhow, okay, so we've got your journals on there. Now, before I forget, I want to go here. Oh, this Uncle Rick thing doesn't go in there either. See, I'm spaced out. So if I leave a highlight, that means I don't know where this goes in time yet. Actually, I do, but I'll do that separate from this video that I'm doing. I need to take it off of here because it doesn't go there. All right. This is Avery's. This is Butch. And I don't do this for every paragraph, but it's because I'm doing it backwards because I'm half asleep. Sorry. It's Butch, 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 Butch. Instantly school sisters. Okay. This is Avery's talking right here. And now we're back to Butch again. Now this was, yeah, I washed his hands. Yeah, Butch, okay. Walked around me, then I wiped it off. Okay. So I'm wiping it off here. I was thinking about wiping it on the wall or floor of the room later that day. So this is Avery's. She is dissociated, doesn't even remember where this sticky crap on her face and pants or cuff of the pants came from. She's just like, what is this? Get it off me, get it off me, get it off me. And now we're back to Butch again. So you can see how when one part surfaces, now Avery's was already co-conscious with me, but Avery's is now understanding why she had that sticky crap on her face because at the time she didn't know what it was. It was just freaking her out. Um, Refrigerator rooms is walking out of saw so many bodies, but I could still see the rooms, relieved. Okay, so Avery's. Gosh. Now we're back to Butch here. Oh, dang it. Avery's is typing in because she's putting her story together with Butch's. This is Butch. Keep spelling it wrong, dang it. Yeah, this is Avery's. That sticky hair. Um, Avery's, this is Butch here. Or, no, Avery's, okay. Avery's blew up the boat with C4. We dropped jet bomb on that building. And this is Butch. Back to Avery's. So this is one part switching into another. Hmm. This is Avery's. Um, Butch is at the 10 fear level in that room with that butcher guy. Avery's, okay, so She put numb, fear, and peace when she first emerged. I'm wondering if I don't have a second part here, but I don't think so. Avery's said that she was in fear and despair. So I'm going to give her 2 lines and make a note that this is from 2/6/26. I want to see what that level is. See, is like these are the parts after Avery's. Fear, fear, fear. Okay. Just thinking a moment to see if there's not a second part and I'm wanting to be lazy and not have to do a second part. Avery says no. This is where she was. She was really close to tears and pushed herself into numbness. Okay, and she was downplaying her fear before, but she was very peaceful to have submerged and have existence. Okay. So, Butch, you are fear at 10. They already know the checklist. Okay. So I got to record. Okay, so let me save this real quick. And I guess I don't really need to put the names in here because it's just the two, and I'll be able to distinguish between them without tediously going through here. All right. So the journal is recorded. I'm going to save that and close it. So on this check sheet, I'll show you, I'll open up the blank one. Arts IFS. This is where I'm at. I've done these 5 things right now. I've put her on the chronological list, or him, and now I need to put him on the name list, which is the second tab. Y'all don't have to do this. I just like to do this so I can keep a count. Umberto. 1,213 parts instead of scrolling up and down this thing. So there's Butch. Umberto, 7. And now we need to figure out his intensity level. And that comes from the worksheet here, the intensity chart, because we need to figure out what to put here, his impact intensity, and here as well. So we're going to open up that form, which is form number 2. This is form number 1, the chronological and the name list. Form number 2, emotional intensity. And on my PowerPoint, I have it, I call it impact because that's what John calls it. The impact, the emotional impact, or the emotional intensity are the same thing. The intensity is impacting you. So I need to, there's Veronica. All right, let me blow this up. I'm going to right click over on the number here, not on the cell, on the number. I'm going to right click, insert, and it's going to add a line. And I'm going to change this to the color I want because it goes with this incident. Now I'm going to come back to form number 1, copy this, go to number 2, paste it. I used to type all this out all the time. Now, I need this form to figure out the intensity, so I'm going to pull this form out. I've done this for y'all before. Make it smaller, and you'll see there's two sides to this. There's two tabs. This is your support team. This side is positive 10 to 0. This side is -1 to -2. Your support team and things that are subconscious. This form, the second tab down here on the left, has two sides. This is repressed, which is -3 to -6. And this side is -7 to -10. And this goes from 10 to 12. However, this entire side here are wounded children, and this side are repressed. So we're going to go back to Butch, and I'm going to show him, oh darn it, the category labels. And this is why I have to like squish it up so that I can see the name and the categories at the same time. Oops. He's not an early warning system. That would have been the first part that presented that's a 1 to 2 or a 3 to 6. Now, Butch said in his journal that there was a presence of evil. Well, that can only happen over here. So we're going to put demonic presence. And let me see, since I've already got round stomach, this part presented first in terms of the demonic stuff. So he's the guardian because he presented first. Which actually, I need to check that out, Zyka, because Butch did present months ago when I was doing that presentation. Y'all heard me talking about that with Jon. So I need to find it when Zyka, she presented a year ago, and I did, okay. So she is the, oh, not Zyka, Zyka here. -12 demonic presence. You're not the gatekeeper. You are the internal guard because she presented first an entire year ago. So now I gotta fix. Okay. Because there is a guardian for any. Oh, I got Hetty on here too. Dang. Well, I'm all confused now. Hetty. Oh, right. 42525. So you are not the internal guard. See how I make mistakes? All right, I corrected you guys. Sebastian, all right. For this incident. Let's go back up to this guy, the guy we're working on. Zyka presented first for this incident. Okay. Now we're going to move to the left and see what these, because these sections are, if you have parts that are demonic presence, demonic involvement with the environment and other people, or now it's personally interacting with you, or you're witnessing someone else embody a demon or become possessed, or the demon is trying to possess you. These are the differences here for me. Y'all can evaluate your own numerical level, but that's how it works for me: 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Um, Now we're going to check these other qualities. So I'm going to ask Butch, who's up here. Hey, why can't I see you? Oh, because I haven't copied and pasted this yet. Paste. Oh, Umberto, you should not be green. That copied because I inserted the line, so it copied the same qualifiers as the line that copied. So gotta fix that. All right, so we're gonna copy and paste this here. So I guess you're getting a lesson in Excel and also learning how to process your parts. Okay. Oh yeah, see, I've got a couple of gatekeepers here already. All right. Do you have spiritual guilt? Yes. Do you blame yourself? Are you self-destructive? You're protective of myself? I was following orders, not trauma bonded. I was mechanical and numb, socially appropriate in that social environment. There was no pain. Well, yes, there was pain in the back of my neck and the poke in my butt. So compartmentalized. Was I betrayed? Borderline personality, no. Sexualized, no. Helpless young child part, wants to comfort, no. Wants to get help and stop the abuse by disclosing, heck no. All right, so now what I'm going to do is take my notepad out. And these are not session notes anymore. This is the intensity. And what I'll do is, so because there was demonic presence, that is a minus 12, 11 or 12. And she was pretty freaked out. So she's saying it's a 12. So minus 12 tab, demonic presence. And they, so like I said, a little tired. All right, now we'll slide this guy over so I can record the rest of these qualities. And since there's none on the right, I can come all the way over to here and I'll pop this up again. And we will say spiritual guilt, protective. That's why I wasn't talking very much. It follows orders, mechanical slash numb, because they're both in the same category. I do a slash there, right down here. Um, Socially appropriate and compartmentalized pain. Socially appropriate compartmentalized pain. Excellent. So we got that. So I know she's a 12 now, and I can fill that number in here. Minus 12. So I'm going to copy this and paste it all the way across. Got to fill in all the blanks. And after you do these 1,200 times, you remember where the blanks are. And I also now know I can put it on form number 1. So form number 1 is completely finished, but I leave that open as a base, oh shoot, as a base form for me to copy and paste the information from. So I'm going to put that over here. Form number 2 is done, so I'm going to save that and close it out. It's done. And I'm going to check that off on the checklist. Intensity, we figured that out. It's a 12. Now we're going to do the timeline impact graph, which is form number 3. So her age is 7 years old, and I need to find her here. And I know that's what is it? 7, Remy. Here we are, Veronica. Let me blow this up. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. She needs to go above Veronica's where I need the line. I'm going to right click the line number, not the cell, the line number, insert a line. I'm going to change the color to go with this incident. Come back here to form number one, and you'll see, just copy and paste. It's on there, it's done. So I guess it doesn't matter if it's bolded or not. So now I'm going to pull this out because the parts like to know where they are on the chart. So it's on the second chart because it was so long, I had to make two. I didn't want to have to scroll back and forth. So Umberto is right here. He can now see that at the age of 7, all these other parts that have the same impact level as him, number one, and number two, just how many parts there are in total, just for the second half of age 7. And I'm going to show him this is the first half of age 7. And he's blown away. He said, "That's a lot of stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." So blow that up a little more. First half of second grade, second half, and here is Umberto right here. He knows that his group of people are these, and that Zyka and Hetty had demonic experiences. So Zyka and Hetty, I will ask them, I don't even really have to ask them, but they know that if he needs help, that they are probably the closest in impact to him to help him with his spiritual issues, as well as myself and Jon, and doing TED Talks. But that also there is Veronica, Zia, Zyka, Maddox, Marion, Moon, Sebastian, Hetty. All of these parts were part of the same incident. So he knows that he can talk to his close group of people because they know the incident. But he also knows that as he feels comfortable moving out in his circle greater and greater and greater, that there's all these parts he can talk to. And they will help him as well as me and Jon and my SRA friends. So form number 3 is done. I'm going to save that and close it and check it off the checklist with a pencil on the here. You don't have to do it on, so you just print the form out, check it off. I'm just doing this so y'all remember to use the checklist and you won't miss anything. The next thing we're going to do is emotion levels. So that's form number 4. So I'm going to go to the latest tab that I started, and I go, let me see, how many lines do I go on here? It's a lot. I go to like 2,400 lines. So I'm only at 900, so I got a lot of blank spaces. Now this, it's going in the second area because it's presenting after December. I check my parts in August, December, and April. So we're not at April yet, so it's going to go into December's area. If I can get down there, probably should have used the slide bar. Okay, here we are. So I like to put their old name on the left in case I can't remember their new name, but remember the old or vice versa. But their new name, the new individual part that now exists and is about to have it's getting a new life, right? It's getting existence right now, and it will get a new life shortly. His new name, Umberto. And that's who he will be for the rest of his life. He's not going to have to be Butch anymore. Copy, paste, paste. So every time I check on him, every 4 months, I'm checking on Umberto. So save. Now, Umberto told me in the journal, which I put in here, he was at a fear of a 10. So there we go. Fear, 10 level. He's saying he was also frozen inside. He was afraid to do anything. So he was just frozen and fearful. Do you have any comment you'd like to make? I don't want to be here, he says. I don't want want to be here. And he said that in his journal as well. So I'm going to take that comment because he wants it recorded. And I'm going to put that after here. I don't want to be here. Okay, so that can get checked off of the worksheet as well. Emotion levels. The next thing we're going to do, fear 10 and numb 4, I forgot to put that on there. Numb 4, fear 10. Okay. See, I got more information. The journal told me he was at fear level 10. But just now doing this form, the emotion levels, I found out something else, right? Numb. He kept saying in the journal, I'm frozen, I'm frozen. Not meaning it was cold, even though it was cold in that room. He was petrified to do anything wrong. He was frozen. I was nodding my head and not talking a lot, right? Okay, so now we're going to go to, I can close, I'm going to save this and close it out. Now, I would go and find Avery's and add to her emotion levels, but that would go back like, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 months. Maybe I should take a look and see where she's at. What was your date, Avery's, that you presented? Veronica, 5/2. So I know I can go to here, find Veronica. Oops, if I could spell it properly. Veronica. I just want to check. There she is. This is how she started off. Numb, fearful, peace because she was discovered. She got angry, worked it out on Ted, still had some fearful of any random signal will activate her. Still got some more stuff that's ugly. So she was telling me this a long time ago. I'd like to beat the snot out of Joe, who's the son of my bodyguard. Finally, she got to peace and happiness levels. Some good for what she had already revealed. And now she's telling me there's always more. We had a lot of courier jobs, obviously. And her peace and happiness level dropped. And I was asking her, well, what that's about. She said, what did she say here? Glad you posted the adrenochrome stuff on my video channels. She was happy the world knows about adrenochrome through her and through these other videos that I posted. And then she said she had a baptism request. So I've since baptized her. That's what the little B means. And so she's good. She says she's worked out her stuff. Again, I'm having a shadow of an idea that there might be another part. That part on the boat. But that was Avery's carrying the backpack. Avery's at the door to the backpack. So, okay. She's just confirming that with me. So this form is done. Say, so as I go along, me, logically, I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. You just said you had all these emotions. Am I trying to leave a part out? Am I trying to be lazy and not have to do extra work? And she's confirming to me, no, that's me, but we've worked it out. And as we work out Butch's stuff with the greasy, grimy cramp, it will also affect her. All right, so we can close this out. This part of the worksheet is done. Just did that. Okay. Now the health checklist, I will say this is the form you will spend the most amount of time on. So we're going to go down to the bottom left for existence. It's the first thing we're going to do. Veronica is Avery's new name. Again, we're going to go on the line number itself, right click, insert. It's going to copy what's above it. So I'm going to go on the line and change the color to match the incident. And I know that these are going to do what it did on the other form. So, okay. I'm going to go back to form number 1 because I have all the information there. I'm going to copy it, come back, and paste it. I'm going to copy this and paste this across. What is this? These are all the forms we just did. Did I get a part name with a picture, a cover sheet, the bio, the journals, the timeline, the intensity, which really intensity goes before timeline. Oops. I'm going to hover over the letter and I'm going to do Control X with my fingers on the keyboard. Come over here onto the J and do Control V, which means, oh, dang it. I'm going to right click it, insert the cut cells. Dang it, that's not what I want to do. Okay. Cut. There we go. I just switched them because you have to figure out the intensity before you can do the timeline. And I've checked their emotion levels. So this part now has existence. It has existence. So the next tab down here on the bottom left, we're going to give this part new life. Let me find her again. So she has existence, or he does, Butch. All the stuff that gives a part existence. Pictures, bios, journals, everything. We're on the PowerPoint. We have emotions, etc. This is where they are as they are presenting. Now what we're going to do is give them a new life. And I was working on something else and I needed to shrink that. So now we're going to give this new life. Now, you'll notice that there's no age and there's no impact level here. Because with a new life, they are not that age anymore. They're going to grow and develop. And their impact isn't going to stay at a -12 or whatever it is. As we do TED Talks, it's going to reduce and reduce and reduce. And they're going to come up from those lower levels and become subconscious or co-conscious with me as they find peace and happiness. So I removed that. So you don't even have to add that on. Again, add a line, hover over the number, right click, insert. I just did it twice. I'll undo that. I need to hover over the number to change the color. Now I'm going to come over here and get the name. I could just type it. It's not a huge deal. Okay, we'll put Butch. And he is not green and he needs to be black and right justified. So copy here and here. What are these things? Oh, come on. Do they have a new name, new picture, new clothing? Now, new clothing can come from whatever the picture is. And if they don't like that, they can go to this clothing store and pick out anything they want except anything sexual, satanic, or cultish. And I don't like piercings and I don't like tattoos. The girls can have a pierced ears, but that's it. The next thing I need to do is give this part a tour of the house. Now, I've already kind of done that last night and this morning, and I'll do it later. But basically, I just walk around the house. I start in one area and I go in a big circle and I end off in the garage at Ted, and we're going to hit on Ted. So, this is their new life. They can think of themselves differently. They have a different name. They know where they live. But I'm going to ask Umberto, how would you like to destroy your prison? Well, they already told me that, didn't they? In their journal. They already knew what was coming. They knew the questionnaire before they even surfaced. Oh, that's Veronica. So, we dropped a jet bomb on that building and we visualized it last night. And we could certainly do it again today. And oh, dang it. I look at that. That's empty. I'm going to have to fix that, but not right now. And see, I do miss stuff, but when I notice it, I try to fix it right away. So, what I've started doing, I have a new thing on my PowerPoint. It's called prison destruction. What I'll do is I'll create a slide. So, here's their bio. Here's going to be their all these questions I'm asking. I'm putting on this notepad and I'm going to record their body issues, body, mind, spirit, and that will go on this form, their impact level. I'll show you, just copy it and paste it. And I'll do the same thing with the health check. But for prison destruction, what did he say? I've forgotten already. Dropped a jet bomb on that building. So I've been working on this project. This took me about 6 weeks to do all my parts with this form. So now I'm going to insert a picture. I've been collecting prison destruction pictures, prison destruction pics. And I have a jet bomb on here. Right there it is. And they like to see it on the PowerPoint. They like to be reminded we have destroyed their prison, and this is how we did it. And most of my parts don't really care for these designs. They just like seeing it as big as possible. And so I'll come back over to this form, copy it, paste it. And I know that that happened when I gave them new life. So I don't really need to put a date on there. So yeah, School Sisters of Notre Dame is bride, and he's loving it. Okay, so save. We've destroyed the prison. All right, so we just took a quick tour of the house. So now we're going to do form number 5. Again, well, a tab on here. So we've given him existence and new life. The next thing we're going to do is check on his body issues. So I find Veronica, blow this up. Insert a line, again, change the color, right, justify, black. Okay, and I'm going to go, again, no age, no impact. And now I can just copy these two and put them on here. And I like to do this for all of them at the same time so that it's just there and ready to go. Insert a line, color, and do that. Spiritual issues, find, insert, change the color, and baptisms, find her. Now I can close that because I don't need to find. right click, insert, change the color, right, justify black. Okay. So now I can take this, copy it. I've already done it on the body, paste it on the mind, the spiritual, so I don't have to keep doing it. And I can just focus on the questions I'm asking the parts. Oops. So I need to squish this down a little bit so I can see my categories. Dang it. Where are you? There you are. And there's that. So I've got to shrink it really small, and I'm sorry about that, just so I can see the categories. There they are. Okay. Now I'm going to take my phone and record what he tells me. I'm going to use the Note app. New document. I'm going to put the date on it and his name. All right, body dash mind dash spirit dash. Okay. So I'm going to put the microphone on and dictate into my phone. Eyes, because it was so bloody and that man was so disgusting. I could hear the echoing of those guys calling each other, "Hey, Butch." You could smell decay in there. Face, because he wiped that crap on there. My jaw was tense. My teeth were clenched. Hair on the knife that got on me. Neck, because he pinched it. Throat, because he grabbed my throat. Backpack tangled in my arms. Backpack on my shoulder. Stomach was upset, and he poked me in the butt with that knife. Comma, I also did not want to see the faces or torsos as I walked by them. So I turned off the microphone. Now we're going to do, gotta center that, dang it. Like I said, excuse me, I'm a little tired. All right, now we're going to do mental. Again, I gotta find the categories. So that means I gotta shrink this. There they are. Where are you? There we go. Okay, mind files were not installed. There were symbols there. What symbols are you seeing? Just the knife. Symbol of butcher knife, comma. There were no cards, no spinning, no earphones, holograph, electrocution, sensory. No, no. There was concentration, so I didn't F up. I felt degraded being in there. There was mental suspension. Temperature extremes because it was cold in there. So now I'm going to record this. And I will just say here and now, before I turn the microphone on to record this, I don't really care for using butcher knives at all. I just use regular knives. Even, I don't care for them. Concentration, comma. I felt degraded, comma. There was mental suspension, comma. And the room was very cold. Microphone is off. Now I'm going to go to spiritual issues. Again, I've got to shrink, oops, dang it, shrink this up so I can see the categories below it. And I'm going to turn the microphone on and record this. Trigger words, comma, hey Butch, comma, obligations to stay silent, comma, curses, should I talk? Okay. So y'all can see the categories down here. I was just reading them off my mind. I didn't want to read them out loud and have the thing record them. The only thing I paused on was covenants, which is promises, but that really applied over here, the rules and obligations to not talk. Okay, so we have the existence, new life. I checked their body, their mind, their spirit. We've already checked the emotions. The last tab is baptisms, and this won't happen for a while. I have about 550 parts baptized now. I have the rest to go, and it's probably going to take me 2 or 3 years to get them all baptized, but that's okay. So this form is done. So we're going to save that and close it out. And I'm going to take this note that I dictated, send it to my email, and I'm going to copy and paste it onto that notepad. So I'm going to close this out, and I can close this out. Go to my email and get that. And there he is, Butch Umberto. Now sometimes I'll just type this on this here, but I just don't feel like typing today. So I'm going to take this now. So I'm going to move this into my journals file. Email's done, out of the way. And I'm going to take this copy and put it on this form. Oops, of course, you're the wrong color. I love PowerPoint. Okay. And part of what I do is size up the letters so everything's consistent, particularly their names. I know that the body of it won't always stay the same depending on how much data is on it, but I just kind of like it to look good. Okay, so cool. That's done. He's a 12. So we'll go back to the worksheet here. We just did the health checklist, and I recorded it in the journal and the PowerPoint. Last thing is a thumbnail image. Y'all don't have to do this, but I use it. You're obviously aware that the thumbnails for my videos. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Got to move that guy. Get his bio page, make sure everything's in order, and I'm going to snip it for my thumbnail folder. And Butch says, "Hello, everybody. I'm here now." Yes, you are. So I got to go into a different file. Oh, darn it. Publish season three. Oh, no. Thumbnails. Umberto. Oh, darn it. Umberto. Oh, okay. So he will now be a part of thumbnails when I talk about him. And also, and so this is done. Everything's done here. So I'm going to close this and not save it because I like that blank. I'm going to file, save as, SRA, parts, journals. This is now part of my journals. It's the health checklist for Umberto. Save. And I can close that out. And you'll see, oh, wait, where did you go? I need to go into journals. You can see it right there. Now, this is the journal. Here's the health checklist. I still have one, two, three journals with parts on them where I don't know where they go. And so, like, again, what I do is I'll put a sticky note with the keyword and the date of the journal that applies to the one that's not filed in the folder yet. And once I figure it out, I'll process them. And once there's nothing else on the journal that needs to be processed, they'll get filed in this folder 2026. So these baptisms I've recorded, I just read, I was going to read them to John, but we didn't have time. So I'm moving it into the 2026 because they're okay not sharing it with John. There will be more. And the health checklist, I'm going to leave open because John and I will discuss it. So okay, that's that. Is there anything else I need to do with Umberto? No, there is not. All right, so I can stop share. So I'm going to try to do this every week or two so you can get used to how to use the forms. It's a questionnaire in a form. The forms and graphs and how it affects me. And again, I hope that I've gone over everything. Like I said, I'm sleep deprived and I haven't had lunch yet, although I'm not hungry. So thanks everybody for listening. I hope things are going well, and I'm going to put the offer out there to y'all. Please send me an email. Let's get in touch with each other. I'm perfectly happy to work with you as you go through this. I'm doing this with two other survivors right now. And if you're not computer literate, I have these forms on my website. I'll show you where they are. Just go to my website has two names. Take it to the nextlevelhealing.com or WarLynDi.com, whichever is easier for you to remember. Okay, so under the tabs here, you'll see charts and graphs. Downloadable documents available. It just shows you the parts list, that's Form 1, timeline, emotional impact, emotional intensity impact. I need to actually switch these around. And these are the different categories. Here's your support team, your subconscious level. This is only half of it because I couldn't fit it on there. Repressed, wounded children. And here is the giving your parts existence. Well, no, this is the impact, the different categories and checking off the items. Subconscious, repressed, wounded children, demonic or MK ultra level. Doing the emotion levels, the health checklist, which we just did. So you're giving them new life Checking with their body, their mind, their spirit. These are just examples. So you can look through there and see what I've just explained, and you've watched me do it. But if you hover over this, you'll see underneath it says downloadable charts and graphs. Click that, you'll go to another page. You can download every single form that I have. I should probably put their numbers here. And there's another one here called the Life Log, which I'll get into on another day. But printable forms for those who don't want to use the computer. These are what I just created, just went through, but not on Excel documents. You can fill these out. I'll show you what they look like. Publish, wrong one. Website, blank forms. Okay, paper forms. You will have one, two, three, four, five, six pieces of paper for each part. The first one is giving it new life. You write down their old name, the date that you first heard them, age, impact level. Now you can find a way to give them pictures, but write a bio out for them. Add your journals into have one file for a part. Put it in a file cabinet and keep them in chronological order. And the way I move lines on the Excel document, you can move your file folders if you get the date wrong. Keep everything for one part in one file with their name on it and their age, or have tabs for their ages. I can't count how many times I thought a part was seven and it was actually three. So, and here's the checklist. Have you done their emotion levels? That's right here. Well, no, that's the impact. Here's the emotions. I printed it out for you so you can just get markers or highlighters and fill this out and check on them 3 times a year. And you can see how they're progressing emotionally. Existence and new life. So here's existence. Check in their emotional. Have you vented? Have you done TED Talks? Did you check on their body, mind, and spirit, which are on these tabs over here, underneath on the bottom here? Here's their body. Do they have issues with their eyesight? Write notes out for what it is. They have issues with, were they raped? Write down, I had vaginal rape, anal rape, whatever. If you're a man, I put on here penis and scrotum. A woman with an abortion, do you have issues with your womb? That part, your hair, whatever. So there's the body, here's the mind. The same things I just checked off. You can write in pencil or pen. And I put on here addictions to food, nicotine, sex, drugs, exercise, gambling. All these things don't apply, but some do. Here's the spiritual questions. Trigger words, phrases, rules, ordinance, abandoned by God, betrayed by God, curses. I broke yours out a little bit more in detail than mine. Mine has these two in one box and these two in one box. So you can print these forms out, 6 pieces of paper for each part. Uh, and here's how you evaluate their impact level or their intensity. Are they a positive 1 to 10? Here's the qualities. Check off, okay, you might check off I'm helpful. You get to this level and you might check off nothing. You might get to this level and check off 8 things. Well, the part is at this level, right? Or all of these have nothing, or maybe there's one little tick box, but you get to this level and a ton of stuff is checked off here. They're at this level. But I will guarantee you, if you have demonic stuff going on, you are at a 7 to a 20 negative. But check off, or there was the presence of evil. Or was there evil like in the group of people you were in and their interact, is it involving you? Or is it personally interacting with you, personal physical demonic interaction? Witnessing one-on-one, face-to-face demonic invitation or possession. You're seeing someone else embodied by a demon. Or you might just see the demon itself, but they generally are in a person. And this one is experiencing one-on-one, face-to-face demonic invitation or possession. Because if you're dabbling in the new age and doing witchcraft, you are inviting demons to you. Or you're the mystery school stuff, all that stuff, the occult. Or are you personally possessed, right? And they say that Christians cannot be possessed, and that is true. But demons will try and get in your body as a child because if your parents have not baptized you, or if you don't know Jesus, or you do now, but you didn't when you were 2 or 4 or 8 or 10, they may have gotten into your body. That's what this one's for. So if you have anything right here, you also need to fill out this section. So this helps you to evaluate, and then you can come back to the main form and figure out this is my impact level. So you don't have to do this on the computer. And I put the number of the form here, one. Or these are the page numbers. If you print this out, you're going to have, that's right, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages per part. Now, and you may not use all of these pages because if your part's at this level, you can just use page 5. But the whole form here is for you to figure out where the part is, right? So I just wanted to show you all that. Save. I'll show you one more form, the life log. Now, this was when I was at a point early in my sessions where I couldn't sort things out. And it helped me to cross-reference a lot of things. Okay, I could remember the years, so that could help me figure out the age or vice versa. I couldn't figure out where I was, but I could remember, yeah, that dresser in that bedroom. Where was that? Oh, that's right. I was living here. So you'll start filling out little things all over the place, and over time you'll figure out how old you were. What pet did I have when I lived at that house? What car did I drive? What was I doing spiritually? I pulled out my old resumes. What job was I working at? And the resume told me what year and location and the address. So it helped me sort out the 15 or 20 different homes that I lived at. It was, as a child, it was just um, 2 or 3. But after that, as I became an adult, I moved 10 times in like 4 or 5 years. And I couldn't keep track of stuff. So I used this. And it helped me pinpoint things. I'll show you mine. This is just the blank. All right, SRA, parts, IFS. Okay, where are you? Life log. I was able to figure out where I was, what was my pet, what was my car, what was my job, and start lining things up by date. By having my old resumes really helped a lot. And there was a point where I was putting, well, what parts were created? But now I have 1,200, so I kind of stopped filling out this form. But here's my cars. What I was in the New Age. I was in Buddhism. I was in Scientology. You know, where did I work? Things of people or things of note. Different handlers I thought were boyfriends. No, they were my handlers. And so I can line things up in time and see the logic of these perpetrators and what they did to me. where I lived, an apartment, a house, a farmhouse, a city house, the barracks in the army. I was in a small apartment with my mom, the large apartment with my mom, the trailer, etc. Oh, I did black it out. Okay. My husband doesn't want y'all to know my last name or where I live, so um it just helped me figure things out. So I will stop there. Thank you for listening. I hope this doesn't become tedious. I think this is the third one I've done in a month or so. I just want you to see how it works and what happens to me as I'm filling out the forms and what the parts tell me. They're mental, emotional, physical. It didn't really happen so much this time because it was in the original journal, but sometimes as I'm checking off their body parts, they go, yeah, I had a paper cut. I stubbed my toe. Or sometimes I'll think it's a part that was not sexually assaulted to discover by the time I get to the body, because I've spent so much time with that part already, it trusts me more. It goes, well, yeah, you can check off the vaginal part. And I go, really? What's happening there? Well, they raped me. And I go, oh, okay, thanks for telling me. So you find out new stuff as you go. Anyhow, thanks everybody for listening. God bless you all. It's my sincerest wish for you all to move through this and give you practical tools. TED Talk. Yes, journaling and sketching is great. For me, it was just a start. I needed to move into technology because things were coming so fast. And once I did, I'm able to sort and look for stuff now. I like everything in my PowerPoint now. Everything. Because I might have a memory of a monkey. And I go, well, wait a minute. I had two or three other incidents with monkeys in them. Who were they? And I can search my PowerPoint for the word monkey and look at them and pinpoint. And the part I go, yeah, I'm part of that. It's another part that has not presented yet. So I highly recommend the charts and graphs because you can search. It's hard to keep track of 1,200 parts. It's hard to keep track of 100 or 300. That's when I started this process. I believe I was at about 150 parts. So God bless you. I love you. I ask God to give you exactly what you need when you need it. Comfort, strength, courage, boldness to embrace what you're receiving and sit down and do the work. Vent. Let go of TV, the mall, a movie. Let your family go out and do those things, and you sit your butt down and fill out your forms, your questionnaires, your graphs. Let your parts know you care. Jesus, please compel everyone watching these videos with a desire, a compulsion to discover their true self and find every single ability and skill and depth of emotion to empower them and know who they truly, really are and can express it in the world and know that you were with them all the way through and that they may embrace every moment of their life, embrace it, and have those skills and abilities co-conscious with them so that they may reflect your glory by showing the world how strong they are. In Jesus' name, amen. I love all you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Lord of Lords, King of kings. Alleluia. Glory, glory, great majesty. Alleluia.